We're going to learn Perek Beis Mishnah Hey. This Mishnah is a direct continuation of Mishnah Daled, where we learned that if a person eats or drinks something that is arai, temporary, or a snack, then they are not required to eat or drink it in the sukkah. So it says our Mishnah that Maisa, there was a story where Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai and Rabbi and Gamliel were sitting outside of a sukkah, and their students brought Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai a dish that was small enough to be considered a snack for him to taste. And they brought Rabbi and Gamliel 2 dates and a pitcher of water. And both Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai and Rabbi Gamliel told their students to bring these items up to the sukkah where they will eat and drink it there, teaching us that even when you are only eating a snack and you are not required to eat them in a sukkah, it is nevertheless much better to do so. However, when the students of Rabbi Tzaddik brought him a piece of bread that was smaller than a kabeya, smaller than an egg 2 ounces, then Rabbi Tzaddik did 3 things. Number 1 is that he held this bread in a cloth. Number 2, he ate this bread outside of the sukkah. And number 3, then when he finished eating this bread, he did not bench. Why did he do these 3 things? So number 1 is because he held that you are only required to wash for netilas yodayim prior to eating bread when it is a minimum of the size of a kabeya, of 2 ounces. And since this was less than a kabeya, he did not need to wash his hands. So he held it with a cloth because his hands were not clean. And for hygiene, he wanted to make sure to hold what he was eating in a cloth. Now it's important to note that the Alter Rebbe writes in Shulchan Aruch Harav that we today would wash for netilas yodayim, even for bread that is less than 2 ounces, but we would not make the bracha of al netilas yodayim. Number 2, he ate it outside of the sukkah because since that was considered temporary, he was not required to eat it in a sukkah. And number 3, he did not bench when he was finished because he was of the opinion, then the Torah says, v'achalta v'savata uveirachta, that when you eat bread and you are satisfied, then you bench. He held that for a person to be satisfied, they have to eat a minimum of a kabeya of 2 ounces. And since this piece was less, then he wasn't required to make a birchas hamazon. Now it's important to note that the Alter Rebbe writes in Shulchan Aruch Harav that today we would bench if we eat the minimum size of a kezayis, of an olive, which is 1 ounce. Now obviously the Mishnah does not tell us this, but prior to Rabbi Tzaddik eating the bread, he did make a bracha rishayna. He did make the bracha of hamaitzi lechem min haaretz. We are now going to read the Mishnah inside. Maisa, a story happened, vehevi uloi, and they, the students, brought to him, Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai to Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, liktaim to taste as a tafshil, a cooked food that was small enough to be considered a snack. Ula Rabban Gamliel, and they brought to Rabban Gamliel shtei kaisavos, 2 dates, udli shel mayim, and a pitcher of water. Va'amru, and they, both Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai and Rabban Gamliel, said to them, halum lasukkah, bring them up to the sukkah, and we will eat and drink it there. However, ucheshenasnu loi, and when they, the students, brought to him l'Rebbi Tzaddik to Rabbi Tzaddik, oichel pachis mikabeya, food, bread, that was less than the size of an egg of 2 ounces, then he did 3 things. Number 1, naloi b'mapa, he took it in a cloth. Number 2, v'achalei chutz l'sukkah, and he ate it outside of the sukkah. And number 3, v'loi beirach acharav, and he did not bench after eating it. However, prior to eating it, he did make a bracha rishayna, the bracha of hamaitzi lechem min haaretz.